Are recording?
Yes.
Excellent. I think that's a great way to start. Hello
Exactly.
out there.
Hello. Welcome to the podcast. I'm here with an amazing professor.
Thank you.
Um,
I'm here with an amazing student, former student, an amazing alumnus.
Yes, and
Jacob.
And we Professor. Is it okay? I call it Professor Adam?
You can call me Adam. You can call me Professor, whatever you want.
No, but just of an incredible person. I don't know you that.
Yeah, I always get this. I almost worry, like, what have you heard? Well, the feeling is mutual, though.
It's funny. So,
yeah.
But just so excited to have him on the podcast, and I'm really excited about what we're going to talk about. I just showed him a book that we are trying to. I haven't read the book yet, so I'll be honest here. But it's a compelling story.
Why don't you say the name of this person?
Sure. The name of the person is a biography, autobiography. His name is Olaudah Equiano, and he talks about just his journey from being captured as a slave from Nigeria at a very early age of 10. Then subsequent years, he struggled to find his freedom. Of course, this was 1789, right? But over time, in a way, he gained his independence. Which, I mean, I haven't read the book. I'll be clear.
But we read the back.
We read the back. But the whole point is that there was he has two stories. Like the early stage was like, he was stuck in this system, as we all know.
Well, captured at the age of 10.
10, exactly.
And so he's not yet. His formative years, his teen years were spent in slavery, working on slavery ships, and somehow saved money and bought his own freedom.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
Exactly.
And then, do you know what business he went into?
I don't know, and I wish I could just skim through it to figure it out. But I know he was in London for a couple of years, and he was in Europe. That's why, because America at that time was not
a great place to start a business for a black person.
But I think this maybe in the next episode, so when we're together, so probably have read it more in depth. But I think I just heard it from a talk, and I think the person who was talking about this book showed two pictures, and there was one picture of him as a teen, like just stripped down, with no clothes, looked mutilated, and just dehumanized. Yeah. And they show the picture of the one here. Yeah,
look at him dressed up as a European aristocrat with if you're listening to this and you can't see the image, it's a picture. He looks like he has excellent posture, very confident. He looks like an investor.
Yes, he looks like.
And he's got the white furly whatever that thing is called on the shirt around the neck.
Exactly.
And it's a little bit of Frederick Douglass is how he's a little bit of his story, both. Well, we say that because that's what the back of the book says, that his story is evocative of Frederick Douglass. It's the closest comparable that people might know.
Yes.
And he does also, if you're listening to this and not seeing it, this portrait really radiates the same energy.
Yes.
Of a confident person.
Yes. And I think from the talk, right, what he was saying is that your life, you can change your life. I mean, he said this was worst, right? He didn't have a choice to change his life, right? Because he was captive, right? He was a slave. But he said what the talk was saying was that where you are now doesn't necessarily define where you have to be the next 10, 20, 30 years. Like you have the capacity to change your life.
Yes.
And sometimes it's not like you need something else. You can literally make up your mind. It's a mindset. Like you can make up. I mean, I know there are many talks like that where people say change your mind, but I felt like this was grounded in a story that had some essence to it.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like and this is a little bit like this extreme, right, from slavery to business person, and maybe many people didn't have that transition, but I think the moral of the story was like, you don't have to be stuck to where you are. You can literally make where you end. This is what they'll think about him when he as a legacy, not as a slave, right? And I think that was kind of
that's the message of the book and of the presentation that you heard.
Yes.
And again, for the people that are listening, are there show notes? Do you write some for things that are difficult to spell? Will you write it for people who are listening? Well, maybe we'll spell the last name for your listeners. Equiano. So Equiano.
Equiano.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you Google that name,
yes,
this looks like an amazing story, and so very appropriate both for your podcast
yes,
and for my YouTube channel. We are
yes.
recording simultaneously.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like it's double. It's very cool. It's very cool.
So let's if people have been listening patiently so far, here so far we've talked about this amazing autobiography.
Yes.
And we should define the goals for why we're meeting up. We have a few goals. There's a few reasons that we're talking tonight.
Yes, exactly.
So what can people expect? What was your mission? What was your goal in inviting me on?
So I think one was that I followed some of your work on Facebook. Prior to that, I met you in 2019. I think 2019 or 20. Was it 2019?
I don't remember. It's coming back to me after we met outside. It was, if anybody, well, obviously it wasn't recorded, so you guys did not hear or see this, but it was weird. You seemed suddenly very familiar. Yeah. So you definitely have exchanged words. I don't remember when though.
Yes. And I mean, Babson community is pretty small, so I guess.
So basically, you followed my work on social media.
Yes, I did follow your work, and I think there was a lot of. Thanks for bringing back to the topic. But I think there were many. I saw a lot of what I wanted to do, and you were living it. Okay. You're living a life I wanted to live.
Wow, that is.
Yeah, so I especially the video you went on the
motorcycle.
Boda, right? There was this sense of freedom, but also like this. I think this guy was building like an energy plant or something like that, right?
Yeah, Johnny in Northern Malawi. If you're watching or listening to this, cheers and cheers to everybody who made that possible.
Yes.
Cheers from Brookline, Massachusetts.
Yeah, cheers for everyone who helped you build that, because I think it brought me into a space where I was like, that is you're there, you're doing something that I feel like I have to be doing, and so that was very compelling. I think the other piece was just that there was some element of I think anytime I talk to you, it's always like there's no sense of like reservation. I mean, in a very good way, but it's like it's like you have to just do it. There's a sense of doing, and it portrays in how you talk, how you do things, but also how you. And I think that's a life worth living, in a way, and that was very compelling to me. It was very inspiring to me, and I think for the conversation we're going to talk about today, I think it encompasses most of the things that we'll share, like you're enough, but also something. So I think that was really powerful. Just from watching.
Thank you. You have no idea how much it means, because I'll confess something for both your listeners and for my watchers. You have no idea, and I think this is actually useful for people to hear. Yep. Because you were saying all this stuff earlier, and I was thinking, damn, if only he knew how insecure I am, how many negative emotions there are involved of oh, I didn't do that right, oh, I should be ashamed, I'm not enough, oh my God, I'm totally delayed, oh, they think I'm crazy. And so when somebody says something nice, you have no idea how much it means to somebody who creates stuff, the validation. Yes. And I want to share that there's a purpose for my sharing that, which is that I think surely people who create new businesses, and your podcast is that's the target audience. Yes. Yeah. If you ever have dark moments of doubt, you're not alone. Exactly. I was catching up with one of the people in my book from Madagascar, and she said, I don't think she would mind me sharing this because some things she said I could share, just how difficult emotionally, physically, mentally, the pandemic and the crisis it brought. Things are going better now, but if you have had dark moments of doubt, or people have, you think people are thinking negative things about you, and hey, maybe sometimes they are, keep going, because eventually you'll hear something nice like what you've told me, and it'll totally make your day. And so I want to share that. And my goal in being here with you is, first of all, I loved your podcast. There are a few quotes I wanted to ask you about because I disagreed with them. So if you think that podcasts are just about people saying, yeah, man, you're right. No. This is going to be the podcast or the episode on the channel where we say, no, I disagree with that quote. And we're going to find out why actually we end up agreeing on it eventually. But so I wanted to ask you about these quotes from one of your recent podcast interviews. Yeah. And also there's an ulterior motive that we both have, which is that we're both imagining
Yes.
taking time off in the fall and the spring.
Yes.
Fall 2022.
Yes.
Spring 2023.
Yes.
And we both coincidentally
Fingers
had the
crossed.
same fingers crossed. Yeah, we had the same vision that maybe we're going to hit the road, be almost pretty much nomadic and homeless, some would say. Others people would say nomadic. And we were both thinking of checking off and checking out, visiting, investing some time in both Asia in the fall, and then Africa in the spring. And yeah, so that's another thing that's going on this evening as we're talking about how the heck to do it.
And it's recorded here, so we can look back and say, did that happen?
Did we really say that? Did we really think we could do that? Oh my God, we were so silly. So that's one thing that we might be saying in about a year or a year and a half, or we might say, oh wow, we underestimated this. Or so welcome to our own story within a story.
Exactly.
Should I ask you about these?
Please go ahead.
Okay, so this is the one that stuck in my mind. The founder, she's the founder, right?
So this
in your last episode,
yes,
right?
So the synthesis of this, I'll just give. So I have my colleague, a good brother and a friend, Efusa Ojomo. He works at the Clayton Christensen Institute.
That's where you work also.
Yeah, that's where we work now. And he wrote a book with the former Harvard business school professor Clayton Christensen.
Okay.
And he came up. He's a founder of the disruptive innovation. And he has come up with several theories, but this is the one he's well known for. And throughout his work, he has consulted companies. Actually, I think his book was one of the books that Steve Jobs read. That's one of the books that Steve Jobs always looked up to. But over time, and when he taught people and he consulted people, because he was also a professor at Harvard Business School, he said one thing he realized was, when we think of emerging markets, or what we call growth markets at the Institute, what really stands out is if you really want to create significant long-term inclusive prosperity, you have to think of your company as building a system. And not a product. Because
did I say the quote? Did I say it on the recording? I didn't just, I was reading it, but I wasn't sure I said it before you started. This was the quote that came out during your interview of the person who runs the African Diaspora Network.
Yes.
And you, or was it she, said the quote, it's not about the product, it's about the process.
Yes.
And the reason I wanted to push back on that and hear your explanation of why it actually makes sense is surely if your product or service doesn't deliver what a client wants, that's the end of your business.
Yes.
And so that's crazy. If Tesla had just focused on, how we build something, or Steve Jobs had focused on how we build something, as opposed to does the car or does the phone work and delight your customer, surely Apple and Tesla would be considered much less than they are. So why don't you explain actually why it is about the process and not the product? So thanks for the context that it's Clayton Christensen's quote.
Yes.
Okay. And now why does that make sense?
It stems from Clayton Christensen. So I mean the quote has evolved, and it also says that in some of the workshops organized. I think so for this, and so in context of businesses, right? In developed markets like the United States and UK, France, Germany, the premise of process is that if you don't really figure out, the process provides some level of sustainability that, and I'll give this example. So when we think of the iPhone, right, we think this is the innovation, right?
Yes.
But what stemmed from the innovation and created the iPhone was set of processes at the back end that brought together, designers, brought together engineers who came together and thought about how can we create a phone that will be as clean and neat like this, right? If you think about it, there are other companies that can make a smartphone, right? And maybe they can even mimic a similar model of the Apple, but you always have, but you can always tell that this is an Apple product, even though like another company can make a similar model and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Apple makes the Apple phone really good because behind the phone is the process that was set up such that they understand what it takes to build a very good iPhone, right? And I think, and something that was said is just like, what happens when you create an innovation and you make the innovation consistently good, or you can say this is from this company, is that they have put in systems in place, or processes in place rather, that they can always replicate the process, right? Because you can always have one off. I mean, it's similar to, and I'll go this way. There's some instances where, like, even when students do well in class, you give an exam, a student who is average or maybe not too good might pass an exam one time, like really well, 90%. But if you want to really know someone is a good student, you have to look through like 4 years. Or a long period of time.
We want to see if they can repeat the success with multiple different professors, multiple different classmates, subject matters.
Exactly.
Okay.
But what makes them good was that behind that performance,
there must have been a set of behaviors, a set of habits.
Exactly.
Interesting. I've never. You know what? You're suddenly restoring some of my faith in higher education. I was beginning to. I'm sure your listeners and our watchers have seen the same thing, that higher education could be in crisis.
Yes.
People are questioning the value of it.
Exactly.
But now that you put it that way, it is your diploma, and if you've distinguished yourself in getting your diploma, it's a sign that you have. If you screwed up, it wasn't a repeated pattern of screwing up, that you eventually learned how to work with other people and deliver on a certain set of, expectations.
Exactly.
However much they sometimes don't make sense to everybody. You figured out the rules of the game and played them. Exactly. You know, that's interesting.
Yeah.
The way that you explained the quote to me actually yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yes.
I also want to share, if that's all right, because it resonated even more with me.
Yes.
I got hung up on the product, and that's the reason I pushed back. No, come on, look at the iPhone, look at a Tesla Model 3, and tell me that it's not about the product. That's the reason that everybody loves these companies.
Yes.
And then but something about the way you explained it to me, it clicked that. Yeah, but that's not what they started out with.
Yes, exactly.
SpaceX, to use that example.
Yes.
Separate but similar. There were 2 dramatic, colossal failures.
Exactly.
And the third launch, if it had failed, that would have been the end.
Exactly.
And if we had gotten caught up on those first 2 products, then nobody would be excited. That company would be dead. But there was a process behind it of figuring out, why did that crash? Why did that fail?
Exactly.
So it really was about the process and not the product.
Exactly.
The iteration.
Exactly. And I think when I talked to you a couple of, was it yesterday?
I can't remember. It was yesterday or 2 days ago.
It was like Groundhog. But
we're both doing a lot of things.
Exactly. But I think, because you made a very interesting point, and I think that's a very clear example too, because I think even just to kind of just double down on that is, if you even look at individuals, right, you see patterns, and sometimes they may, like, there's some people that, you can tell, like, even based on how the patterns have been, you expect, like, because, I mean, you have the data. I mean, people get older, you have data, but you can sometimes, you can tell, like, okay, this person will make it because from the last experience, the person
succeeded.
But even though the person might have a hiccup, that person's process is such a way that, I mean, either the person vets things well, or the person understands how to figure out the arbitrage or something. But you can tell, like, even for human beings, we can tell, like, based on, we might not call it process, but based on the person's thought process, the person makes decisions that, in the long run, if you do like an integral of the person's life, you'll be like, okay, the person had things that.
It's like watching a great sports team.
Yes.
Or a great musician.
Exactly.
Stumble and fail. A great figure skater, they're always falling.
Yes, exactly.
And we all cringe. We're like, oh.
Exactly.
But yes, the great ones are the ones that they bounce back.
Exactly. Somehow. Yeah. It's just, I mean, Kobe Bryant, I watched basketball. Kobe Bryant always said, he worked harder after championships than even when he didn't win, because he understood that.
The failure makes you work harder.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Kobe, LeBron, if you think of all of these very successful athletes, Tom Brady.
That's the one I was thinking. I remember when they lost Super Bowls,
yes,
you could see the disbelief in the eyes.
Yes.
And at the same time, you knew that there was a resolve.
Exactly.
Oh no, we're not. It's going to be different next time.
Exactly. No, definitely. And I think that's kind of what I think about is Tom Brady is not just a good athlete.
Yeah.
He's a good athlete that has a good process.
Yeah.
That I know he's very talented too, so we should not discount that. But like, he has put systems in place where it's almost certain that the performance will be replicated, like can be replicated for 10 plus years now. So I think that's kind of where.
So we mastered the first quote, and I stand corrected. And thank you for the correction, and thank you for educating me. So if you're listening or watching, to repeat, it is about the process and not the product.
Yes.
It is about the behaviors, the patterns.
Yes. Yep.
That allow somebody or an organization.
Yes.
To bounce back.
Exactly.
When an iteration is not perfect.
Exactly.
All right, checking that one off. How much time do we have before your commitment?
No, can go ahead.
No, but let's wrap up quickly, because you had something that started a few minutes ago. You are enough.
Yes.
Heck no. I don't feel I'm enough. I always feel like I'm failing, like I'm inadequate. Oh, maybe it was my upbringing. Maybe who knows?
Yeah.
Or maybe, you never know where we learn these self-talk narratives. Whether the first thoughts you think in the morning, like,
yeah.
oh my god, I should be doing this. So we could, you can hire a therapist if you want to dig in the dirt and find out where it happened. But
we all need therapists.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think.
Why do you say that?
Because I think.
Have you tried it?
I mean, I have a sister who is a psychiatrist.
Okay.
So I have that benefit.
Yeah, see, my dad was a psychiatrist. Maybe that's the way I am I am. People have speculated. Also, I tried therapy. Since I asked you, I feel like your listeners will think I'm a jerk if I don't answer my own question. I've tried it and I lost patience because I just don't think that you can truly, honestly ever tell the totality of your story.
Yeah.
I think that, look, I at this point, I'm almost a storyteller as my side hustle. Yes. My book and now this channel and what I hope to do this year. But the truth of telling a story, maybe we tell other people's stories more honestly than we can tell our own story. That's one of the reasons I'm looking for the autobiography you introduced me to, is to see how Olaudah
Equiano,
how he tells his own story.
Yes.
But anyways,
but have to respond quick to responses.
Yeah. I think
the first one is you can hopefully learn more about ourselves through them. As we tell the stories, we learn more about ourselves. We can just a possibility. And the second thing is that, wait for it.
Okay.
It's a process. It might take decades. It might take the you are enough is a process.
Okay.
Yeah, you are enough is a process because some people take lifetime. Some is okay because I think it's not something you have to figure out tomorrow. And I think it's through people in experience, like interacting with people, getting yourself out of your comfort zone and pushing you to the extreme entrepreneurship. Seriously, I think that's how you get to learn. You start learning about like this. That's you are enough, I think. And I think the term sounds like it's a quantifiable thing, but I think it's more than that. So but I can.
So you are enough.
Yeah.
But don't you think a little bit of dissatisfaction with who we are?
Yes.
With people around us, actually,
yes,
are how we drive ourselves and others to improve. Yes. If we were happy and complacent, arguably, actually, maybe we'd be happier.
Yes.
And maybe we would have caused less ecological destruction and less destruction of fellow human beings through slavery and exploitative capitalism and exploitative socialism, whatever, or Soviet communism, I should say, because I don't, never mind. We could get into how can capitalism and some social justice be balanced in a way that, but we're going to step away from that topic.
Yes.
My point is this. Maybe complacency would have meant for happiness and less destruction of each other and the environment, but to do a lot of the things that apparently humans aspire to do, which is to have energy, healthcare, education, the ability to wander and experience.
Yes.
it involves some dissatisfaction.
Yes.
It involves the instinct to leave your home village. It involves the instinct that no, it's not enough to cook with charcoal or to read by candlelight.
Yes, yes.
So you are enough. We are enough. We have enough.
Yes.
I know it's provocative and some people are going to yell and scream at me and want to turn off the podcast, but is dissatisfaction and a little bit of greed actually what drive progress to be a little bit,
I think,
provocative?
Being enough also suffices that you are aware of all the different faculties that you possess as a human being. I think all the different emotions and reactions that we experience actually come to its full, I'll say, potential once we understand who, like, that we can be, we can actually act. Because I think when you start when you begin to act, when you provide action to things that you believe is what you have to do, or perhaps you're being informed. I mean, there's information that are internal, externally, but I think once you fully, action is synonymous to like figuring out your capabilities, and I think all those different emotions and reactions, or human behaviors, comes to full strength once we get out there and do stuff.
Okay.
Right. So I think it doesn't. I truly believe that if you don't act well if you don't do something, it doesn't matter the degree of it, but if you don't start doing things, you'll not really understand. You will not come to the position where you fully know that you are enough.
Okay.
Because, so I think action is synonymous with that, but it also drives you start figuring out all the different aspects of yourself that will make you to conclusively believe that you are enough. Because if you don't act, I don't think you'll figure out that full potential.
So you are enough is not an invitation to complacency.
Exactly. It's perfectly. Say perfect.
Okay.
Because you might have a subconscious, you might think, I think it's a false narrative if you don't act and you think you're enough. You have not really felt.
You are enough is not an invitation to complacency.
Exactly.
And the other codicil is that you are enough, we are enough, what we have is enough. Yeah, some things maybe we should embrace. I think it's really context dependent. If we're talking about stuff, most of us have enough stuff. You don't need that much stuff.
Yes.
But some dissatisfaction with ignorance, hatred, fellow human beings suffering, that kind of frustration, no, we're not satisfied. That's a good kind of sense of inadequacy, or you see your colleagues not pulling their weight or not trying. That kind of dissatisfaction, saying, hey, you're not doing enough.
Yes. You get the point.
I get the point. You're not doing enough is separate from you are not enough.
Exactly.
Oh, man, you keep educating me. It's
like
the student has become the teacher.
Yeah, because I mean, the insecurity comes. I think there's always some degree of insecurity, which is okay, right?
Yeah.
But natural. I think like true deep insecurity is like knowing that you're not enough.
Yeah.
But it's like, as again, it's a process. But at the end of the day, it's like once you start seeing that you're an action of change, it doesn't have to be just entrepreneurship. But I think in the whole context of like, you can actually be more effective when you know you're enough.
Yeah.
But
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Oh my God. Yeah. Because the last few days there are these moments of doubt, and there's these moments of, oh man, I suck. I can't do this. Yes. And that's when you lose the momentum and you fall a little bit off course.
Yes.
And we need to wrap this up for you. But and the last quote that we agreed that we wanted to cover is, do you have stories of failure? Are stories of failure valuable? This is a question that I got about my last book. Is a question I got this morning from the General Counsel of Oxfam. Are you going to include stories of failure in your next book? What is your you had an answer to this when we pre-gamed this a little bit.
For sure.
Are you going to feature stories of failure on your podcast, and are they valuable?
So I think for the last 4 episodes now, I've interviewed. So if you've been consistently watching the last 4 episodes, I interviewed Sister Jane.
Sister Jane.
I'm now forgetting all the names.
I know
4 amazing entrepreneurs.
Yeah. If anyone's listening carefully, they'll notice that we skipped over the name of the person who runs Africa Diaspora Network. And I'm so embarrassed. I'm so bad with names. If you're listening or watching this, we apologize to you. Oh, you have it on your screen. Good.
So I think
let's read it just to make sure she feels honored.
Yeah. Hyacinta Toyoko, that's the first entrepreneur.
Okay.
Then Jamalia, Sister Rose, and Sister Jane. Those were the first 4 entrepreneurs I interviewed.
Okay.
Then the lady that did the intro was Deborah Passio.
Deborah Passio.
Yes,
that's her name. All right, Deborah, if you're listening, we both apologize.
Yes, Deborah Passio. But she's from Asia. But she leads the.
Do you remember how to spell Passio?
Pacio.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I didn't want to get it wrong.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right.
But I think this past for entrepreneurs, what I've discovered was that the failure was just lesson points.
They were just lessons.
Lessons learned.
Lessons learned. That's right.
It was just, that was the simple interpretation, just like the flip of the, like, was the opposite of the same coin. Like they used that to build, to understand what they were good at, what they were, like actually knowing that this door is not worth moving into it at that point in time X.
Yes.
And at the same time, they also understood clearly how, like what it takes to actually move from point A to B based on what they have. Because I think for all these entrepreneurs, and most of our talk is like they know how to be very scrappy and know how to use, like, optimize, like literally they know how to maximize very little resources to get the highest return. Yeah. And I think what failure teaches is like it's like it always brings you back to the point, like, what can I really do that can optimize myself and get the best out of it? And I don't think anything else teaches you more than failure.
Failure is the best teacher.
Yes. And it gives you the opportunity to know, like, these are the things I need and this is what I don't need. Yeah. Right. And for those, if you can go back to the past 4 episodes, you can tell, like, they actually mentioned some of these things they started. Yeah. So I think the second, Jamilia, she talked about one time she started something and she was always thinking about, it didn't go so well, and she was thinking about going back to her because she quit like a good, really high paying job. And her mom was like, why did you quit that job? Yeah. And she remembered she started it and it was not going so well. And she was always thinking about calling the job. I was like, can I come back? So like she always had that, it was always back and forth. Yeah. And she was like, this thing is not going as well as I thought. And at one point she actually had to, and she got pregnant at one point, so she had to like close it down and she had to focus on her personal life and the kid. And so it was just like, and it was considered like, then, like, you screwed up. Like, you stayed at this company, got a good job, and you just like, she was like, that really made her to like actually motivated her. I was like, no, I'm gonna figure this out. Okay. I'm gonna figure out how this will work. And now she's very versatile. I think she runs like 3 companies now. She does like a bag manufacturing company. She does like a consulting company. So she can multitask. She has learned how to navigate complexity, because with that pregnancy and stuff, she had to figure out how to make money, how to take out the baby, and all that, but also how to like manage the small money that she had. Yeah. So I think like those things really help get the best out of you, makes you believe that, you can actually make things happen with very limited resources.
So there you go. If anybody wants a recap, yes, we've discussed a lot of things, but the 3 quotes that we wanted to discuss and chew over and hopefully digest and provide you. Never mind what that analogy breaks down. That metaphor is very bad. We wanted to discuss is about the process, not the product. We wanted to discuss you are enough, that it's not an invitation to complacency, but you are enough. It's about the actions that you're taking that might be enough or not the right ones, or not nuanced the right way. And then finally, stories of failure are valuable. Studying the failures of others, studying our own failures. Yes. What I used to tell students when we reviewed tests is the greatest danger seemed to be that they would skip over studying their own failure, but they'd also skip over studying their own successes. Because you succeed and you're like, oh, okay, I know how to do that. No. Yes. It's sometimes good to go back and rewind and what did we do right? Yeah. What do we do wrong? And don't skip over, well, that turned out well, so we know what we're doing. Yes. So I'd study both the successes and the failures.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I just think, and just the 2 things that came to mind first, so if I can wrap it. So there's actually this very prominent South African venture capitalist, but he's also like a speaker. So he talks too much, but in a good way. But he says something that he actually shared a poem that said, what makes you become a man or woman is that you're able to navigate failure and success. You're able to treat failure and success equally and remain the same.
There's yes, there is a poem. Yes. And it's by somebody who is very God, this is a tough one because it's a
Yes.
profound, fantastic poem,
Yes.
but written by somebody who also might have had, for his time, a very typical British attitude for people that were not of European descent. So he's a controversial person to cite, but there were some things he wrote that can stand the test of time, even if attitudes on some issues have evolved.
Yep.
And I believe the poem is "If" by Rudyard Kipling.
Yes.
And again, apologies if you're can't stand the man because of some other thoughts or things that he might have written or said, but if you can, I think it's if you can tolerate both success and failure, and not lose your cool.
It's cool, yeah, exactly.
to update the language slightly.
Exactly. And I think that because I mean it's kind of what we're saying is like, I mean, learn from them, but it should not be like it shouldn't define you.
Yeah.
But I mean, just going back to the premise of our conversations, like there is some element of like the external failure doesn't necessarily conform to the fact that you can't do stuff, you can't build stuff and stuff like that, but you have to use them as a very good thing.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we fleshed out and explained these quotes. You are enough, and what it means. It's something to keep going when things don't go well, when you have those stories of failure, to realize, hey, it's about the process, it's about the journey. You are enough. Just modify your actions next time.
Exactly.
And on that note, dear listeners, dear watchers, if you're still with us, thank you for staying with us.
Thank you so much, and thanks, Professor, for being here.
Jacob,
yes,
thank you.
Yes,
it is awesome to see you after a few years.
Yes,
we survived the pandemic, and now we're on to a next exciting chapter over the rest of this year and beginning of next year. And we invite you guys to follow along with us and see what happens.
Yes.
See whether first of all, whether we end up working together, because we still don't know if we're going to be doing, stuff during the fall and the spring together, but there's a chance of it. And so thank you again. It's an honor to be on your podcast. I loved your interviews. And if you haven't heard them, guys, you should go to Jacob's podcast. What's it called again?
Doers Within Us. Doers Within Us.
Doers Within Us. So that's more for
within us.
Doers.
Yeah, doer.
Doers.
Yeah, within.
Yeah, within us. Yeah, doers as opposed to not doers, as opposed to not doing, right? So hopefully that's more for people watching my channel, and my channel is Extreme Entrepreneurship on YouTube. It's a brand new channel, so please don't judge me by the low watch counts, which are spirit crushing for a new YouTuber.
It's a process.
Exactly.
Please subscribe to the
subscribe, like, comment, share. Yeah. Anyways, enough plugging our own channels. Except that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, what to do it.
Yeah.
Please subscribe. Please. If you haven't clicked the button, just okay, I'll wait for you.
But it's 20. We're gonna wait for them to do it.
Subscribe.
Yes.
Have you done it yet?
Yes. Oh, I like that. I like that. Look at you interacting with our viewers like that.
You have to subscribe. You're gonna miss out.
If you're still watching and you haven't subscribed, man, come on, show some love.
At least just like.
Come on. This isn't the worst thing you've ever seen, right? Come on.
People are definitely gonna subscribe because of this.
Yeah, because listen. What else do you want us to do? I feel like this is a public radio pledge drive. Why haven't you donated money? This is the 7th day. Why haven't you given? Just subscribe already.
With all seriousness, subscribe. Okay.
You'll make our day. You'll send love to us, and we will send it back to you in the form of fantastic, entertaining videos with deep, profound insights and wisdom.
Abundance and love.
Some
caution.
And some silliness. It might not always be wisdom you get from us, but you might learn what not to do, what not to say. You might learn wisdom from the people we talk to. That's what I've learned. I think you're right. I think the process of interviewing, we learn, we understand ourselves better. Maybe.
And we have fun.
Yeah.
Most of our things are fun.
That's absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Yes. Take care.
All right. See you on the next video or the next podcast.
Yes. Take care, everyone.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.